For those of you who think selling is hard, I'm going to tell you why it's hard. And then I've got some guests today who's going to show you how to make it easy. Selling is hard because you don't know how to do it. I remember one time my son came to me and said, Dad, math is really hard. I said, son, anything's hard until you learn how to do it. That's right. And on today, I've got two guests with me that are going to show you easy, emotional sales secrets. Get ready to have your mind blown by these two women who co-authored a book called Persuade for Good, which I believe implies, that title is like, it's like a good country song. What does that mean? It has more than one meaning, right? Persuade for good. What does that mean? Once you persuade them, they're persuaded from now on. But what else does it mean? It means also that when you're persuading for a good cause and not an evil cause. And you are going to learn some easy, emotional sales secrets that will help you convert more sales and make more money. Let's jump into it. Welcome back to the channel, Macy and Kat. Glad to have y'all here.
Thank you. We're so excited to be here.
Yeah, it's good to have y'all here. We have had some really, really great sales conversations since our last interview, though.
Yeah.
You guys have hit an insane milestone. You had an event in Atlanta area-ish, somewhere up there in Atlanta-ishness. Y'all had an event, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, y'all generated over $1 million in revenue in a single day, but it was actually really shorter than that. Talk to me.
Yeah, we did 1.2 million in an hour, Myron. In an hour, over lunch, over Panera sandwiches.
$1.2 million in revenue for your business.
And it's crazy because it was the easiest, most fun, most natural experience that I've had in my selling career, and you just can't go back.
Wow. Well, especially when you take into consideration, I met y'all back in October of last year. How much was your annual revenue then?
That's a good question. It was $1.2 million even.
So a lot of times what you hear is people talk about, well, I'm going to show you how to take your monthly income and turn it, or your annual income and turn it into your monthly income. Y'all took your annual income, your annual revenue for your business, and generated that revenue in an hour.
That's exactly right. It's honestly really hard to wrap your mind around, but you were asking us over lunch, like, how does it feel? And I'm like, this just feels right.
Yeah, that's exactly what you said.
It feels right. It feels normal. It feels fun. And it feels like we're making way more of an impact than what we used to do. In fact, Myron, a lot of our language before we met you was all about like impact language, which kind of came down to thinking about everything but the money. Right? Like the students and the numbers of people we were talking to, but it felt so weird talking about the actual money. But when we started thinking about money and talking about money, it opened our minds to new ways of growing the impact.
And
we never thought about that before.
Start talking about money to your clients or between each other? Like, what do you mean?
To actually have money goals. To have money, to like be pursuing a certain number, like $1 million day.
Okay.
And when you pursue a number in a time frame, you're just like, wait, okay, that might not even be possible. Let's back up and find, better ways to do it. And what we found is that the impact has been so much greater with the way that we're doing it right now.
And the craziest part is that when we were going into Q3 or Q4, when we had that talk.
Q4, I believe.
So
last year.
What was crazy is, of course, we want to grow the revenue. Like, that's kind of an unspoken business goal, right? So the money, it's not that it wasn't there. We're a sales organization. Right. But what happened was, at that quarter, we took on a money identity. So we decided we're not just going to have a $20 million goal. We're going to be $20 million Macy, $20 million Kat, meaning we had to walk different, talk different, think different, because the math was not mathing. We were working so much harder for the same result over and over and over again. And finally, we said, we have got to change how we think.
So it sounds like y'all had some level of apprehension of acknowledging that even though you had a business and you had employees and you had contractors and you had business bills to pay, y'all were still apprehensive about acknowledging the fact that, well, one of the reasons we do this is so we can make more money. So what do you think where do you think that apprehension comes from? Because I believe a lot of people watching us on YouTube right now, they also have this internal resistance to actually admitting that they have a financial objective.
I think I know a simple answer to this, and that is because when you have sales skills, and we do, we're the sales girls, money is a natural byproduct. So we know how to get people into a decision. They buy. It's money in the bank. That's all good. But what we were lacking was the intentionality around making money. So it was a natural byproduct, and that can feel very passive. So the money flowed passively, not actively. And we really believe in the actions around selling, where we're actively selling and people are actively engaged in the conversation. And we just became so intentional around making money that, like Macy said, we ended up making a bigger impact for a few reasons.
Yeah, and I had a resistance, and I kind of want to speak to the resistance.
Sure.
And because I knew I've always wanted to make a lot of money, and I couldn't understand why I had that. Almost
Why
like,
you had that desire?
it was like a calling. I can't even describe it.
wow.
It was like a desire of I want to have honestly receipts of what I can do and what I know and the wisdom that I have. I'm like, why do I want this? Why do I want this? And honestly, just through a lot of reflection, for me, I have a 1 and 3 year old. You have a newborn and a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old. And I'm like, I want to be the mom that my kids need me more as they get older rather than less. Like right now, they need me to make peanut butter sandwiches, but as my kids,
They won't need you to make peanut butter sandwiches
no,
forever?
they are going to be driving on the way to an interview, and I want them to call me and say, Mom, can you coach me? I'm going into this interview. I got to sell myself. Can you help me sell myself? And I coach them as they're driving on the way to the interview, and then I just envision them calling me saying, Mom, I got the job. Meet me at Brooks Brothers. I got to go get, this amazing suit. And that is the mom that I want to be. And I know for a fact, if I don't have the receipts to prove that I can help them, they're not going to trust me to be able to help them.
So do you think? Well, I don't think this is unique to women, but I'm clearly a man, and I have 6 brothers, no sisters. So women are very
Mysterious?
confusing would be a better word, but I'll take mysterious. So do you think that a lot of women have apprehension around the idea of admitting that they desire to make more money? So the desire's in there, but they have apprehension about admitting it. Why? And if you think that's true, why do you think that's the case?
One of the reasons that it is probably true is that money would negate service.
So you believe that women believe that if I get paid for this, then it makes the service less valuable.
It makes it a selfish motive instead of the proof that you actually did help somebody. And so women end up teaching and advising and nurturing, oh, did you understand that? Did you understand that? Forever. And the person's like, yeah, I can actually do this without you. And they never buy. But that's just the tip of the iceberg with why women have such a tension with selling and making money.
And Myron, it's so ironic. We have sold thousands of our programs to thousands of women. And their lives are so drastically changed from our program. Okay. We have given our program away for free to 2 people, 2 out of thousands. To this day, Myron.
The 2 people.
Those are the only 2 people.
Oh, I know. I heard you before you drove up.
They haven't even cracked open the portal. We can see if they've logged in.
Right.
And can I tell you, that was my epiphany moment where I said, I will never, ever, ever, ever,
Come on here.
ever do this for free ever again. If I love people, I will take their money. Not only did I make that decision in that moment, I don't care if it's Taylor Swift. I don't care if it's my mom. I don't care if it's I don't care who it is. You are paying because I love you too much.
I just want you to know you did say Taylor Swift before you said your mother. I'm just going to say.
Well, I'm thinking, I don't care if you have all the money in the world, or if you're my best friend, or if you have no money. I'm just, even my sister-in-laws, they're 20 years old, and they're like, I want to learn how to sell.
If you want to play, you got to pay.
I'm like, pay up, baby. Pay up. I love you too much.
To let you in here without you having to become the person.
I'm not interested in informing you. I'm interested in transforming you. I don't want to entertain you. I want to change you. And that requires you paying. And so that's where that service comes in. To serve you, it is my duty to take your money.
Wow, you're pretty intense for a young person.
You're not the first person that has called me intense, Myron. I'm sure you could have guessed that.
No doubt. What were you going to say, Kat? No,
it'll come back to me.
It'll come back to you. So it's fascinating to me that you're all in. Yeah, we sell stuff. Yeah, we make money. And there's a lot of people have internal resistance to that. I would suspect that people watching this YouTube video right now, they're seeing me here, I got my gray beard, they can tell I've been around for a while. They look at y'all and they're probably like, why is he talking to these teenagers or whatever, right? And so I know I want the women who are in their 40s, 50s, and 60s right now to hear what I'm about to say, who are watching this video, to hear what I'm about to say. Because I don't know if y'all want me to talk about it. Y'all are in your 30s, so I won't say your age. I don't know if I'll let y'all do that. It's okay? Okay, so y'all are 32. When I met you, you were 31. You were 31 years old, okay? Now, whether or not you think that they're old enough to know something or not, whether y'all think they're old enough to know something or not, here's what I know about these two young ladies. When they were 31, they invested in themselves in a coaching program that I have for $1 million a year. And some of you are like, well, that's dumb. They might be young, but they're not very smart. Well, okay, their revenue they generated since y'all came in the program, you generated your annual revenue in an hour, so maybe you're smarter than those people thought you were, right? But people have a lot of judgment. I like to say, jumping to conclusions is the only exercise some people get. So I want to make sure that while people are watching this video right now and they're watching this interview, that they're not getting a workout, right? Because the fact is, y'all are not good at sales. Neither one of you are good at sales. Y'all are remarkably great at sales. The book that y'all wrote, you know how I can tell if a book is really what I would consider a great book? Like I believe a book is great when I wish that I had written it, right? Okay, and I read your book, I was like, man, I wish I had written this book. This is so good. The title is great, the content is great, and I could tell when I was you know how you can, like, when you're watching somebody do a seminar or you're reading a book, you can tell if you're reading something that was written by somebody who knows about something, and they're basically parakeeting something they've learned. And so that's what I call a copy of a cliche. That's a copy of a cliche. That's a copy of a cliche. Or if somebody's actually teaching from their own experience. And it's really weird because both of you are younger than my kids, right? So both of you are like, I've got shoes older than you. Probably don't. But I do have a guitar that's older than both of y'all, right? In my office right now, I get a guitar that's older than both of y'all. And yet and still, in your 30s, you're making millions of dollars. Okay, that may not seem like that big of a deal to y'all because y'all are like, oh yeah, we're in our 30s, we make millions of dollars. Okay, I'm not even going to ask y'all that, but yet. I was in my 40s before. I might have been 43, 42, 43 before I made my first $1 million. And y'all are in your 30s and made millions of dollars. So yeah, I get it, you're older, and you've got more years of experience doing what's not working. But they've got more experiences in their 31 years in generating revenue than a lot of you who are twice as old have had in your whole life.
Myron, when we were on the private jet on the way to Boise, I asked you a question about my age. You probably don't remember this, but
I definitely don't remember.
I said, I said, do you think it is a disadvantage? Like, should we try to portray ourselves differently to be older, come off more,
stately,
not a great beard, but something. And you said, your perceived disadvantage is one of the greatest advantages that you have.
Boom. That's a good answer. Like, I was thinking, man, I wonder what I said. I said.
I'll never forget it. And then you said, you have the greatest advantage of anyone I've ever coached. Do you remember saying that?
No.
There are some things you say, it is like engraved in my
etched
mind.
in your cerebral cortex.
And
I think that's part of your brain.
And I just looked at you, I'm like, what? Anyone you've ever coached? Like, how? And I started thinking about how many people has he coached?
Thousands.
Why do you say that? And you said, because you spent $1 million at 31 years old. And can I tell you why I know that is true now?
I don't have anybody else I've coached to spend $1 million on coaching at 30 years old
I'll
or
tell
on
you
anything.
Why. I've been thinking
31 years
about,
old.
you talk about gravitropic growth and phototropic growth. And you talk about how you have to go down before you go up.
Sure.
And I think most people, when they think about investing, they think about investing just enough. And so they have the just enough roots. And so they want this tree with these roots because they're like, I did invest. I didn't have time or a little bit of knowledge or a little bit of money. But when I think about the $1 million, I'm like, our roots they're deep. They're down there.
They're way down there.
They're way down there. And I feel, I'm like, try me. Like, please try to push me over. I feel unshakable. Maybe that's where my intensity is coming
I was about to say, you're being intense again, Macy. That's literally what I was thinking of, like, okay.
It's just like, it's so,
yes, ma'am.
And it's like, we feel so confident to charge whatever we want, to communicate the belief in somebody the way that we feel belief in us from being able to like push our chips in. It's been a really transformative experience for sure.
And for me, like watching your business growth over the last 8 months or 7 months, I don't even know how long it's been. It's clearly long enough for people who are great at sales to do what y'all have done. But I feel kind of fascinated because I don't think I've ever seen anybody, in fact, I know I've never seen anybody at your ages like do what you've done. And a lot of people say, well, yeah, but it was easy for y'all because, well,
I will say, and what has been so, like, what I love about us being 30, 32, 31, and having, relatively good at success at our age is it is a
I love how you said that.
Yeah, compared to what, right?
Right.
But it is a demonstration of what mastering a skill set, how it can speed up time unlike anything before.
So good.
Because we were able to learn sales material that's 30, we took 30 years of material that's already been refined and learned it intensely for 6 months. Because it's going to take time or it's going to take intensity. Maybe that's why I'm intense. You get to pick.
That was so good.
We do a little bit of both. And so I know.
You know you're dropping bars today, right? I don't know. Are you a musician? Like, you're dropping bars.
But I know that intensity speeds things up. And so I just would rather, I don't want to be 80 and thinking, well, it was worth it. Like, I want it to be worth it now. Right?
Yes.
And we really have taken just a chunk of our time period, a few years, and just been like, let's crank this up and get this foundation where it needs to be. And that's been huge. I know you're about to say something.
It's been really painful before we met you, only having sales skills. And when I say painful, we can make money, which is awesome, but it was by creating a new sales message every quarter. And in between every quarter, it was like, well, what can we do to create this? And every opt-in was a sales message, and every email was a sales message, because it was our only conversion mechanism was our sentences out of our mouth that drove action. What does that mean? People talk about like, well, if you can't market, then you have to sell. I'm like, yeah, that was us. But guess what? When you know how to sell, like you say, it's not the most important, but it's the first most important. When you have the first most important skill and someone teaches you a marketing strategy or a business model shift, that's when it's been so fun and in flow to do our thing, because we had the first most important skill.
You did.
And when
You
you're
had
talking
something to build
about
on.
mastery, it's like, oh, we don't have to waste any conscious effort on sales skills, because everything else is kind of hard enough, and I would never discount that. And so the fact that all that effort is saved, and that's why that's why our program is called Sales Mastery Bootcamp, so that you can have an unconscious software running. Your operating
background
system is a SOS, Sales Girl Operating System. Just run it, so that every room you walk into, opportunity. You can step into it and actually let yourself shine.
It's so fascinating to me. Like, some of the stuff that y'all have done. Well, first of all, let me back up. I remember you being on the challenge. I know you were on the challenge the month before, but were you in the VIP? You were in general.
General.
That's why I was like, how did I not see you? Okay, because you weren't seeable. Okay, all right. And then you're in the general mission, and in the VIP and as a platinum, and you asked a question, and I asked you some questions about your business. I don't know if you remember seeing my reaction.
Every word.
Do you remember my reaction? Like, why are you? I felt like, why are you doing all of that for that little bit of like?
So why are you mad at you?
Is that what I said?
For the rest of my life.
Is that what I said?
Yes.
Why are you mad at you? That's a really good
Why are you
question.
so mad at you? Yeah.
And you probably thought, what are you talking about?
No,
bro?
I knew. I was like, thank you for describing how we feel, which is like, why are we punishing ourselves?
Yeah, for
being
doing
so
something good. Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Having no growth, killing ourselves, killing honestly the team. I
Oh,
mean,
man.
the first page of U Squared, Price Pritchard's book,
Yes,
so
the
good.
fly.
The fly, and how
Yeah.
there's an open door right there, but he's just watching this fly, bzz, 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 and it's
gonna
going to end
use
up on the
up
windowsill.
all of its life energy.
I sent it to a picture of that to the team member on the last launch. When I was on your challenge, we were in the middle of a launch making no sales, by the way, but that's a story that ended really well. And I sent it to her, and she's like, wear the fly. Wear the fly on the windowsill, not because we can't make money, but because something has got to give to make this thing like really grow. And that's why when you apply the right skill set into the right mechanism, which has been a real gift coming into your program.
Yeah, I was going to say, people are always looking for the strategy, and we say any sales strategy works when you have sales skills. All work works, as you say.
It does indeed.
And when you have the skill, it's just gasoline on the fire. Without the skill, it's gasoline on dirt.
Wow. Okay. Do you have to keep doing that? I'm
I
just
do.
saying. Okay.
Myron, someone has taught me.
Wow. You want rapid fire bars. Okay. So I was talking to y'all earlier when we were having lunch. You started when you were 26. Like, when you started at 26 was the objective, okay, we're going to become millionaires. Did the thought of becoming millionaires even enter your mind at 26? What were your thoughts then?
Yeah.
Because here's why I'm asking you that question. Because there are people listening to us right now. and they're hearing you talk about making $1.2 million in an hour, and they don't have any way to wrap their mind around it, because if they're making $25,000 a year and they work for 40 years, they won't make $1.2 million in their lifetime.
Yeah, there's some really important context here for
Yeah.
sure.
Okay.
So, yes, I learned sales skills at 26. I had my first child, but the background was I really was disappointed in my dietitian career that I worked so hard to get into. Then I was like, oh, I'll do my own freedom thing through network marketing. And you know, I'm hardworking. I'm a high achiever. I am not gonna fail. No siree. So I'm getting on the phone with people. I'm hosting
doing the
events.
whole
I'm doing
deal.
everything that they told me to do. I'm in the Facebook groups, like studying, da 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 da. And it would be momentum would get me here, but then
Right, you'd
nothing
lose it.
was maintainable because there was no skill involved. It was all just following a strategy. Host the event, get on the phone call, do the three-way, right? And it was so exhausting that when I had my first child, Lucy, I was just like, you know, maybe I'm not supposed to do this. Maybe the successful person I thought I saw out in the future is just a mirage, and God actually just wants me to be a mom. And that was really devastating, because the seed my mom planted for me in high school was, oh, you could be the Today Show dietitian. So I thought, oh, I'm like supposed to be successful. This is gonna be it. That's why I'm gonna work hard. The difference is business isn't a hardworking thing; it's a skill set thing. And so at 26 is not when I started business. It was when I had a bunch of context of business. I had context of getting on the phone. I had context of people. Oh yeah, that sounds really good.
You crying on calls.
Crying on sales calls, being like, "This is life changing." So embarrassing, Myron. And then I learned sales skills. And finally I said, oh, now I know what to do with my hands. Because you know, a synonym for skill is handiness. It's like, oh, I can do it. I can plant
Right,
the
it's
thing.
application. You're
I
doing
can apply
something.
it, yes.
Yeah.
And so what was really cool is all the context, all the failure finally made sense. I was like, oh, that's where I went wrong. It all clicked really fast. So all that had started at like 24. Right? So 2 years of failure, finally having the right fertilizer on it, the right soil, all that good stuff. And that was thanks to her and her dad training.
Yeah. So getting in the game, yeah, I'm supposed to be successful, but making millions. Like, most people don't, like, even, like, when I got started as an entrepreneur, the idea of becoming a millionaire was not on my radar. Like, making $1 million in a year, accumulating $1 million, certainly not making $1 million in a month, or $1 million in a day, or $1 million in an hour. None of that was on my radar when I first got started as an entrepreneur. But what happens is, as you have an experience, you're like, oh, that was pretty good, and it was way easier than I thought it was going to be. I find it fascinating that when people have jobs where they have to go to work and they work really, really hard, like I did when I was pulling sorghum, or like I did when I worked in an auto body shop, or like I did when I drove a trash truck, or I was a house parent at a children's home. Like, when you get used to doing hard things, and you go and you step out of an arena where you are the leverage into an arena where you get to use the leverage, the payoff comes way faster in way bigger amounts. And it's like, why did I like flop around in mediocrity for so long when all this was available, but you didn't know it was available? So what would you say to the ladies that are watching us right now, and maybe she's a mom but she sells real estate part-time, or she's a mom but she does multi-level marketing or network marketing part-time, or she's a mom and she sells insurance part-time, or maybe she's a full-time insurance agent, or maybe she's a full-time car salesperson. Like, what would you say to the women out there right now who are listening to you, who that $1 million a year is not even on their radar yet? But I don't even know that you have the ability to get it on your radar until you get the sales skills. What would you say to them?
You know, especially if you're like in like have a coaching program, or you're creating an offer, it can feel like even like the Make More Offers Challenge. You hear make and you think, oh, let me go like in the back kitchen and make something, right? Let me go in the back and let me go in my little office and make it. That is not what you mean. You mean go make the offer to people. Two people.
Put it out there.
And I know
Go have some conversation.
It feels like it needs to be tightened up and beautiful and perfect before you can sell the offer. I know it feels
and
that
in
way.
reality, you have to go out and make the offer before you can tighten it up and make it beautiful.
That's right. And people are, this is why kind of like emotional selling is so cool. People are like, but how do I know what to sell if I don't have the process? You never sell the process anyway, you always sell the payoff. So as long as you have just a hint of an idea of what the payoff could be, and not even just the payoff, but what is the payoff of the payoff of the payoff, that's all you talk about anyway.
That's so good.
That's
What
all you
you
talk
just
about.
said, like-
So literally today, you could get on the phone and start selling the payoff and back into the process as you do it. So I'll give you a quick example. Someone actually called us. She was one of our students, and she said, hey, and this is so good. She said, would you like for people to remember what you say more? And it got my attention. It was the payoff. And I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, well, women, sometimes when they talk, their tone isn't quite as powerful as men. And so their tone kind of goes in one ear and out the other. And there's a way for you to communicate so that your words last in people's minds.
Ooh, that's really good.
Payoff. And I was like, yes, I'm interested. Turns out it was voice coaching. Now, if she were to have said, hey, do you want voice coaching?
I was like, no, I don't need voice coaching. I'm not a singer.
I'm not a singer, right? And so instantly I'm
See,
like,
we thought the same thing.
I'm like, all of a sudden I care about voice coaching, which I never would have in the first place.
Right.
And so
But she wrapped it in a package that you cared about.
and she's a sales girl, so she knew. And so she said, okay, let's just meet once a week. I'll charge you this per call. And every week I could tell she was kind of orienting herself of what her product would become. And I loved it because guess what? I was getting the most attention. I was getting first class attention because I was her only client, and Kat was meeting with her as well. And I knew she was creating it along the way, but I was not mad about it at all.
Right. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
If it works, it works.
And over time, it was very clear I had what I needed, and she had her program, and now she calls it charisma coaching. How beautiful, right?
So good.
And this offer, she's made like over 80 grand with this offer from getting paid to create at the same time.
So good.
And that is how you start like chopping the tree of becoming a millionaire, is you start selling immediately and create along the way.
We call it earn as you learn.
Earn as you learn.
Earn, baby.
Get paid while you play.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Okay.
And I know I hear people thinking, Macy, how? Like, I know, because it's like, if you don't have the skill, if you don't know what to do with your hands, how do you do it? And especially, and here's where I notice, especially where women go wrong. There's two sides of the spectrum. They're either overly emotional about their offer, because when you love something and you make it, like your child, this is my child, look how beautiful it is. Nobody cares about your kids like you do, okay? It's kind of
Real
like your own,
talk.
right? It becomes like a word salad when it's overly emotional. So then people avoid being emotional, and then they go overly logical. And they have to find that middle ground of how can I get like the logic and the emotional and pull it together in a poised way. That is what persuasion is.
You go ahead.
So, like, we titled this video Easy Emotional Selling Secrets, right? And so I've said, if I've said it once, I've said it a quadrillion times. Human beings are singularly motivated.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They do things for one reason and one reason only, and that's because they feel like it.
Amen.
And as sales girls, I know y'all do this, but as sales girls, in order to be as good at sales as you are, clearly you're not begging, convincing, pleading, congealing people to buy.
Heck no.
But you're creating an environment that makes them feel like buying. So what are
Yes.
some of those easy, emotional sales secrets?
We got plenty of them.
Talk
This
to
is
me.
too easy, Myron.
Well,
This is too easy.
too easy, too easy.
So, the coolest thing, not only when I say that we've done so much like I call it manual labor selling, which is conversations. We've had so many conversations that fueled the webinars and fueled the in-betweens and the opt-ins. Like, well,
What do you mean
is
when
it-
you say fueled? Do you mean you?
Oh, fueled. Oh, generated the creativity.
So basically, you've had one-on-one sales conversations
Yes.
that showed you the questions that
Yes.
people have in their
Yes.
minds, and then when you're creating sales messages for a group,
Yeah.
you pulled from that knowledge
Oh, yeah.
base.
So,
Cool.
for example, one of our main opt-ins, $17, is called Follow Up Flow. And it's because we did 250K in follow-ups after a webinar that didn't sell in 1 week. It was like 5 days, and we did 250K.
You did a webinar. Nobody bought on the
No
webinar.
one bought. 1,200 people showed up. It was
1,200 people
painful.
on a webinar.
Yeah.
And nobody bought.
We didn't understand though. We honestly.
I'm telling you, it was a disability to not know like the right stuff. But here's the thing: people would say that was so good. Like
So
I really
helpful.
enjoyed it. like they would understand that it was important, but they weren't like there were so many missing pieces to the sales marketing mechanism. But
Right.
we had conversations.
Right,
We
but you
followed
could follow it up with conversations.
All
You
day.
you know how to talk. That's so cool. Like, I don't even know if y'all got that. Like, they did a webinar. Nobody bought. 1,200 people on a webinar. Nobody bought. You know what most people would do? They would say, "This doesn't work. I'm never going to do it
Yeah.
again." But instead, y'all did follow-up
"It's
phone
on."
calls. Let's go. We're going to call these people and find out why they didn't buy, and then we're going to close them.
Exactly. So not only did that
That's
happen,
crazy.
but all
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
a sales conversation is rooted in what do you want? What are you interested in right now? Where are you at? What's going on for you? And when someone says, well, you know, I really want to pay for private school, so I need to go find, I'm working on this other thing. All you got to do is connect the dots logically to the emotion that they desire, which is putting their kids in a reputable, amazing school in a great school district. And they do connect. People think that their problem and your solution are not connected.
Right.
So the sales girl has to connect those dots for them. And we did that time after time after time. And honestly, the conversations are way easier than people make them, but they resist it because they're afraid that maybe they're going to cry again, like I did when I didn't know what I was doing. I let the emotions bubble up. But the cool thing about our brain is that those emotions that you feel, well, those emotions are in a part of your brain that has no capacity for language, which is the limbic brain, the subconscious meat that like holds so much of your unconscious brilliance. It needs to connect to the neocortex, the logical. So all that planning and thinking and orchestrating that you do of your offer, all you've got to do is connect those things and feel what someone else is desiring. Like you what is the word I'm looking for? Like you hone it, like you just like harness it toward what they desire most, and they feel it. They can feel that magnetism. Desire is like a magnet, is what Dennis Whaley says. Yeah. So how can
good.
you honestly draw them in by just giving them what they want?
So
It's
good.
really easy.
Yeah, and I think like if you think about a webinar, okay, and the reason we love starting with conversations is because there's so many hurdles to do an online
Yeah.
sales event. The tech, oh my, don't even get me started on the slide deck that you know, it's just so much
Yeah,
work.
don't get me started on that either.
It'll take a year sometimes to do the often.
It would take us 3 months.
It would take. I mean, it was so challenging, and the conversations are just like right there, right? And the thing about a webinar is people see themselves as a teacher when they're teaching a webinar. Okay, and I want you to just to think about it like a college professor. The tone is everyone sit down and listen. Sit down and listen to my subject and let me get through my content, and then you can, make your decision. That's kind of the relationship, right? But I would rather people look at themselves more like a college tour guide, which I know you probably haven't been on any college tours, have
I
you?
have, yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
you
yeah.
have. So you remember the tour because of the guide more than the tour itself.
100%.
Right? The tour is like, come here, everybody, let me show you, right? And they're able to kind of customize the tour based on who's in the tour. So let's say someone says, I really want to be a football player. Okay, well, we got to make a pit spot to the locker room so that he can see who he can become, right? They can move on their feet and they bring dead things to life. So they take a locker room and they bring it to life by painting a vision of you being the star quarterback at the national championship. And when you kind of separate those identities, you're like, okay, I'm not going to be a teacher on this webinar. I'm actually going to get on the field, on the path with them and guide them and show them what's possible for them. That is what you can do in a conversation. If you can kind of marry those two in a sales event, that's a game changer. But you've got to like and the thing about a tour guide is they are a representation of who you can become. And they were there not that long ago. And
Real talk.
like a teacher, they not all of the time, but they've been there for 20 years, and they're actually not a representation of who you want to be. They're like, I don't want to be a teacher. That's why I'm in school, because I want to be a doctor. So you really have to kind of, and that's this $20 million identity. Step into this identity of I'm going to guide people and show them a vision of what's possible for them, and that is an identity of a sales girl through and through. And
So good.
you develop that skill through conversations all day.
So good.
Yeah.
And do y'all find it as fascinating as I find it that you develop those skills through conversations, through sales conversations?
All day.
Sales conversations.
Yeah.
But people who would like to get better at a thing in general, but in sales in particular, they seem to resist most the only thing that can give them the transformation, which is having the sales conversation.
Yeah, and
that's fascinating.
And Myron, I've heard you call it a sales presentation. You mean conversations. Like when you're like, I gave a presentation every day.
It's 100% a conversation.
It's a conversation, but people hear presentation and they
Sure.
think that you're standing up doing what you're doing up here. And I know what you meant. I know
Right.
that you were sitting at a table presenting an offer, but it was through a conversation.
I've had so many
yeah.
one-on-one conversations with people in selling.
And
I've sold millions of dollars
Oh, yeah.
in sales, had millions of dollars in sales with one-on-one conversations with individuals.
And people think the art of a conversation is dead. You don't need it. It can be automated, sell in your sleep. And we say you cannot sell in your sleep until you can sell it when you're awake.
Well, ooh, another bar.
That part.
Are you should be a composer. I think you're gonna become the sales girl composer.
You know,
So
whatever it takes to get the message out.
exactly. So good. So what would you say to women who believe, well, I could never sell because I'm too busy as a mom, or I could never sell because I don't know, maybe I'm a pastor's wife, or I could never sell because, and then they have whatever. So talk to those women.
I mean, you can't afford not to sell. You can't afford, it is a skill that will cost you so much because everything is easier when you know how to sell. And our definition of selling is guiding people into action. Just picturing a mother who doesn't know how to sell to their child is so frustrated, so
I was
down.
hoping you were going to say that.
What?
What you just said?
Oh.
About a mom who can't,
I mean-
if you can't sell, you can't persuade your children to do the things that are in their own best
And
interest.
you know, sales is so cool because it's like a diamond, like it's multifaceted, and part of it is like showmanship and like really bringing the things to life and playing big and becoming kind of like an actor or an actress of the belief you're trying to.
Yeah, you're demonstrating it. You're not
And
just declaring it.
I remember my first child being, you know, kids do dangerous things and you just don't want them to die today. Like, come on,
Right.
like let's thrive, baby. And my little Lucy was 2 years old and she would just stand up in the bathtub, slippery old bathtub, and I'm like, okay, she's not gonna understand what I'm saying if I just tell her, so I gotta sell her. You know, when you sit, you're safe. When you sit, you're safe. So I'm like, how can I make this positive? The logical thing that's sitting, the emotional thing that's safe, and make it fun and bring it to life. And it's so little, but it's because of the software. And I don't want someone to hear that and be like, well, duh. Because it's in the moment that you need it.
Yeah.
You can't plan for when you need to have a hard conversation. You know, your child's on the bench, they're down on themselves because they got a bad grade, or they think that they're honestly crazy and stupid because they're dyslexic.
Right.
Right? You got it. You can sell them on who they can become. And it's just devastating to think. And of course, parenthood is like a critical mission. But it's sad for business too, because like Macy said, it is the receipts that you have, not just knowledge, but wisdom, which is applied knowledge. I can actually do this with my hands and show people that things that are possible. So to not be able to do that, like skills are wisdom, as you have taught so many times, and you just can't afford not to.
So good. So good. So I know that there are hundreds, potentially thousands, potentially tens of thousands of people who watch this video, and they will be thinking to themselves, I want to learn what they know. So how can the people who are watching this video find out more about how to become a sales girl, and how to learn how to develop these sales skills, and how to learn how to have these selling conversations, so that they may not ever have a $1.2 million hour or a $1.2 million day, but maybe they could make $1.2 million in a year or 3 years. So how can they find out more? Where do they need to go to learn more from the two of you? The dynamic duo of sales.
Well, first of all, I just want to just place a seed and a vision in a woman's mind and let you know that there's been so many circumstances where, I know you said phone calls, we actually do a lot of voice memos on Instagram DMs.
Really?
The amount of time, that's actually how we did our follow-ups, was Instagram DMs with voice memos.
Byron, get this. So everything would be Zapier, zapped onto a spreadsheet. And May and I, on the day after a webinar, would say, hey, in the morning, I'll start at the top, you start at the bottom, and we'll meet you in the middle, and all these follow-ups. It was her and I doing it.
Yeah.
And so many people are quick to delegate the conversation.
And what do they outsource and all of that?
Yeah.
The amount of times that I have walked to the playground in my neighborhood with my child on my hip, voice memoing, handling an objection at the same time, played with them on the playground, and walked back to my house to see a sale come through from that. I can't tell you how many times that has happened. Countless times.
So when you say you're voice memoing, DMs in Instagram. You're doing that one person at a time.
Oh, yeah.
One account at a time, not some automated
No.
bot thing.
The
Y'all
tone,
are doing.
the tone is more important than anything.
Yeah.
That's why you have to use a voice memo, and you have to use your tone, and you have to be warm and curious and enthusiastic. That speeds it up. You think an automation speeds it up. No. Your tone and your warmth is what speeds it up.
Amen.
So I just wanted to plant that seed where you're like, they might not have a $1.2 million. I'm like, they're going to have it way quicker than they think if they can get this down pat. And you do that on our challenge. It's called the Sell Your Offer Challenge. And we'll put all the links in the description. Also, Persuade for Good. That book is a really great place to
so
start.
good.
It's 10 myths that you might be believing that's keeping you from persuading for good. And so those myths are these mental blocks. People talk about, like, oh, I have a mindset block. Well, they're just false beliefs. That's what the mindset block is. And so this book, it's going to kind of lay out what those myths are and also get rid of them so that you can keep moving forward to being closer to that person that can sell on autopilot, truthfully.
Wow. So good. So people who want to learn from y'all need to come to the
The Sell Your Offer Challenge.
Your Offer Challenge.
But honestly, reading Persuade for Good first.
Read Persuade for Good
Will-
first. Read Persuade for Good first.
You can buy it at
That
the
book
same
is
time.
phenomenal.
Get the book and then
So-
join the challenge and read the book before the challenge and after those 5 days. I mean, people are making, like, I think there was a girl that made like a $50,000 sale from the challenge. I mean, the
Wow.
challenge alone will rearrange your brain so much that who knows what could happen on that challenge alone. Plus the book, oh my gosh, game changer.
Wow. Well, I know there are a lot of people right now watching who are going to love your challenge. Every time I have a conversation with y'all, I'm blown away that y'all can be that young and know that much about sales. But y'all have had enough sales
We've had the
conversations to
reps.
develop the skills.
Yeah.
Thousands, truly.
Right, thousands, exactly. And I don't know, have you ever done anything other than selling?
I was in children's ministry. And but you know what's so interesting?
Like as a staff member on a church
I'm a staff member. I was in charge of volunteers. And when I look back at that role, I'm like, if I knew how to sell, I would have stayed there because because it's so many volunteers, which is just people, you know, and sales is
there you
and
go.
it's people, you know, saying what's not working and what you should change. And I'm like, man, those were just objections. Like all I had to do was handle the objection and get them on board. And I could have been fueled by those conversations rather than disheartened by them. So I wish
So
when I
good.
look back, I'm like, man, ministry really needs to train these people on how to sell and handle people because we're not in any business but the people business,
You know,
truthfully.
it's really fascinating to me because I think about the fact that y'all came into my coaching program, and it was, well, when you first came in, you did $350,000, and then you upgraded to the $1 Million Coaching Program, and I don't remember when, but at some point, like y'all said, okay, Myron, I think we want to buy the coaching program that your coach sells also, and so you joined Russell Brunson's Inner Circle, and like the very first event y'all came to, y'all met somebody, and you did like a $125,000 sale. That's like,
Yeah, you're talking.
Yeah,
Annie.
Annie Grace,
Okay, yeah. So you know what? And this kind of goes back to that impact conversation, because we were doing those sales. Just imagine me and Kat, okay, doing our voice memos, just grinding, thinking our thoughts were we want 100 students per quarter. That's what our mission was, 100 students. So me and Kat, you've talked to more than 100 people to get 100 sales. Okay, so we are grinding, talking to these people, and then when we shifted to thinking about money, we started to think. Met you more creatively. We're like, okay, what are new ways? Started to hear all these new ways to make different offers. Over $100,000 offer. What? Well, when we met Annie Grace, she certifies coaches to help them coach other people in their alcohol control. And the thing about a certification, just because you're certified in something doesn't mean you can sell to be able to use your certification. And of course, Annie's like, I want my coaches to do their thing with their certification. Can you train my coaches? And we said, oh my gosh, there's nothing more than we would love. So they all came for 3 days. But here's what's so cool. It was a $125,000 sale with one conversation. How many conversations? One conversation, $125,000. And not only did we train her coaches, but this training is going to be for all of her coaches for years to come. So the amount of impact that one conversation made, we made more money than we had in any other offer at the time. That is so much more impactful than what we thought was impact. And now we're helping coaches actually help people manage their alcohol and like be the mom who can look at their kid in the eye and read them a book going to bed. The dad who is actually excited to connect with his daughter when she comes home from school because he didn't have a beer. Like, that is impact. That's huge.
So good.
And that is when I was like, oh my goodness, we are being selfish by not thinking about money, by thinking how we want to do 100 students per quarter because of what we can show how good we are. And I was like, no, this isn't about us. Let's think about how much money can we make, because there's really only a couple ways to make that much money. So let's find the best way so that we can make the best impact.
So good. So good.
It's been
Wow.
life-changing.
Y'all, if you, like, I could sit here and talk to y'all for the rest of the day. So,
Sell your offer challenge.
sell your offer challenge. You think I'd be easy for me to
I
remember?
was
'cause make more offers
hoping,
challenge,
yes, to
right?
sell your offer.
Sell your offer challenge. Like, some of you may be thinking, I don't have an offer. You do have an offer.
Yeah.
Or you have a transformation that you can offer. You just haven't turned that transformation into an offer yet. My recommendation to you would be to get enrolled. Any lady out there who'd like to make more money, maybe to put your children in private school, maybe to pay for a better vacation for your family, maybe to just show your daughters that it can be done.
That's right. Amen.
Sign up for the Sell Your Offer Challenge with Macy and Kat, and get their book, Persuade for Good. You will be glad you did. I promise you. I read their book, Persuade for Good, and I thought it was absolutely phenomenal. You are going to learn something. You're going to learn an applicable, real, everyday skill that will take your life to another level. Get registered today for the Sell Your Offer Challenge. You will be glad you did. Always good to talk to y'all. But when y'all bring this kind of heat, it's another level. We gonna have to, hey, crank up the air conditioner, y'all. They just overheated the building.
Thank you, Myron. We love you, and we're so thankful for you.
Thank you. Thank you. This was a great conversation. Thank you for what you do for women. Thank you for what you do in the marketplace, and for being such a great example for women and for young people and for salespeople. Y'all are a triple threat. That'll have to be our next interview, the triple threat of the sales girls. All right. It's been great having the sales girls on this video. Appreciate y'all watching. In the meantime, in between time, we'll see you on the next video. Stay blessed by the best. Thanks for watching.